Hello, my name's Ian Scales. You're watching TelecomTV's Alternative Agenda programme. And today I'm going to be talking with Matthew Bailey. Matthew is the VP of Marketing for Argon Design. We want to talk about Weightless, or rather the uses with which Weightless can be put. Argon Design is going to be part of the special interest group for Weightless. So let's talk a little bit about how you see it being applied in the field.
I think it can bring significant value to different types of vertical channels and economies. We're very active in developing technology for clients such as Newell. We help and work alongside those guys. And for other clients too. So sometimes we actually develop the actual silicon for clients, as well as actually developing products. And we feel that the Internet of Things will bring significant value in things like automotive, things like healthcare. And it's brilliant because it's disruptive. It takes away some of the issues with the current internet infrastructure, such as building penetration for 3G just does not work. You have to be close to a mast. You have to have power. The great thing about Weightless is that it can run on 2 AA batteries for 10 years. It can go inside buildings. You can be 5 to 10 kilometers away from a mast for communications. And so that opens up a number of cost-effective new types of solutions.
So Matthew, tell me a little bit more about your company. What sort of things are you working on?
What we're looking to do is, and the conversations we're having with clients, is basically understanding what challenges and problems of their business can be solved using Weightless. And it may be now for cost-effective reasons, because Weightless will be very cheap connectivity. It may well be that the coverage is something that's very important to them, and with the mass coverage you get now, or will have with Weightless, that will be cheap. Then that could be another reason for opening the business. We're very proactive with our clients, Ian, and we have a number of very diverse, and you'll be quite surprised some of the clients we're talking to at the moment who are interested in the Internet of Things for a number of diverse reasons. And that ranges from silicon manufacturers through to handheld voice communication.
We most often think of M2M in terms of the way we're going to be using, Internet of Things applications here in developed economies, but it can be quite transformative in developing economies too, can't it?
Yes, I'm really passionate about that, Ian. I think if we can lever the enormous new market called impact investing, which is a 4 trillion market earmarked for developing economies, and we can actually bring in the Internet of Things to connect and add value to emerging economies, then that will be fantastic. We have the funding, we have the technology, and if we're bringing incubators in situ with the entrepreneurs that understand the challenges of their particular territory, then it's going to be very exciting, Ian.
So we saw developing countries kind of use cellular to develop things like banking services, for instance. Can you see a role for a similar transformation with Weightless?
Absolutely, Ian. I think that they will sit alongside. So countries can now be connected wirelessly much cheaply than using the 3G or LTE cellular networks, using technologies such as Weightless and the analog TV spectrum. So imagine, Ian, if you have something like the Raspberry Pi that's in schools, and then you have this very cheap wireless connectivity. Just imagine what that will do for that economy. Just imagine if a country, an entire country, a young generation, can program. What will that do for that economy? It'd be tremendous.
So really another way of looking at this is that it's about the application of appropriate technology rather than just applying, Western technology in a different context.
Absolutely right, Ian. You're spot on there. So imagine one of the challenges with certain communities is they use kerosene to actually heat, and that obviously has dangers. Well, solar cells are now taking off, and people are using solar cells now that are cost effective to create energy. What happens if we start connecting sensors cheaply into these remote communities? What value will that add to their lives? So I think it's a very exciting time.
Because it's interesting that you're based in Cambridge, along with companies like ARM and so on. Cambridge is really beginning to be a kind of hotbed for the development of these technologies, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. I mean, if we look at people like Arm, who have moved into microcomputing and are looking at big data will be very, very important part of the success of the Internet of Things. If we're collecting all this information, Ian, what does it mean? How can we take that information and transform it into new value for the end user? Cambridge, I wish Cambridge would collaborate more, but I think it's a very exciting place to be.
Okay, so if we take all of these technologies together, things like Raspberry Pi and the Weightless technology and so on, and we apply them in developing countries, or at least developing countries themselves apply them, what sort of applications do you think can be developed? What could take off?
Well, I think the list is pretty endless, really. I think the opportunity will come down to mostly cost, in terms of how cheap can you actually make the sensors and the connectivity. There is one medical product we're developing, or just about to finish developing now, Ian, that uses wireless connectivity to sensors that links to the mobile phone. And it's a really interesting product. It's something that people probably wouldn't think about doing, but the application, because of the connectivity and the cheapness of it, now opens that possibility to add value to this particular health problem.
Matthew, thank you very much. That was great.
Thank you very much, Ian.